2020 was a rather interesting year. I think that's something we can all agree on. It was supposed to be the new best year for coasters, but instead a lot of parks didn't even open. But what happened to the coasters that were going to be built? Surely they weren't just scrapped, right? Of course not. Investments like roller coasters can't just be thrown into the dumpster without ever being built. So, where did they go? Nowhere. They're still being built, just delayed a year. This makes 2021 stacked for coasters. We are seeing so many incredible additions, it looks like it's going to be an insane year. But it's very easy to get lost in the popular things, like Conda at Wallaby Belgium, the Ride to Happiness at Plopsa, or Iron Gwazi at Busch Gardens Tampa. However, Energylandia has something that may top them all. Well, probably not, but that sounds cooler, so I'm gonna act like it's better. This is Abyssus, a Vekoma Shockwave coaster. When Abyssus was first announced, it got ignored for a bit. However, one YouTuber known as Canada Coaster Fan acknowledged its existence, even predicting it to be the best new coaster of 2020. This drew a whole lot of attention to the ride, and suddenly it was a common opinion to have this new Vekoma ride ranked very highly. However, as 2020 progressed, a lot of interest was lost in Abyssus. It was being built still and gained hype every time we saw new construction pictures, but the hype died off very quickly every time. It didn't help the popularity of Abyssus when Wrath of Zeus, another Vekoma launch coaster, had its POV released. It looked great, but there was a trim on the first element, and one that hit really hard. Abyssus also had a trim on its top hat, which didn't bode well for how it would run. But now a POV of Abyssus has appeared, and it looks better than I think anyone ever imagined. This is why I think Abyssus may just be the sleeper hit of 2021. When I say sleeper hit, I don't mean nobody knew about Abyssus. It's something that pretty much everyone knows exists, but it's gotten almost no attention that I've seen over the past few months. If you think I'm wrong, that's fine, and in that case, just take this video as an analysis of the ride. So, what is the ride? As I said before, it's a Vekoma Shockwave coaster, which is a pretty new model. Actually, it's brand new. Abyssus is the first. Well, as long as the one in China doesn't open first. Abyssus will be part of the brand new themed area in Energylandia called Aqualantis. Knowing how the last themed area turned out around Zadra, this could actually end up really cool. I'm not too confident that the ride itself will be themed because Zadra is barely themed, but if there's a cool area around it, that's good enough for American me who's used to no theming at all. If you're a theming enthusiast who only goes to Hansa Park, Phantasialand, and Europa Park exclusively, you may be disappointed, but at that point anything would be a disappointment. As far as trains go for Abyssus, we've actually already seen them. They have a boat theme kind of thing going on with a wood and steel look, and it's not bad, but not my favorite against the light blue track. The restraints on the trains are Vekoma's standard lap bar and vest design, which isn't anything incredible, but it's definitely better than some other restraints. For capacity, we'll be looking at 4 cars with 4 people in each car. This leads to a total of 16 riders per train. And if the coaster runs 2 trains at all times with dispatch times of a minute, that gives us a theoretical capacity of 619 riders per hour. This seems low to me, so my math may be off. Correct me in the comments if that's wrong. I use 2 trains just because that seems most likely to me with how Energylandia runs their coasters. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe 3 trains are possible, but I wouldn't expect that. With all that covered, let's jump into the layout and talk about what looks good, what looks bad, and what really does exist. First off, the first launch. This is kinda a weird looking launch as far as how powerful it is. It's definitely LSMs, which are generally known for being pretty decent, but nowhere near as strong as hydraulic or air-powered launches. Abyssus seems to have a pretty good kick. It's just strange because it looks like you start at a slow speed for just a second, and then the actual launch kicks in. Generally on LSM launches, it seems to me that the speed growth is more linear, whereas this seems fairly sudden, which is a good thing to most people. Moving on, there's a quick section of ride before the main launch that really just consists of a lot of turns and 2 surprisingly decent looking airtime hills. Another nice thing about this section is that there are some trenches, which will hopefully have theming in them instead of remaining bland concrete walls like they are now. Just as the meandering starts to get boring, you pop up into a shed and a flat section of track where the second launch begins. This is presumably where you will hit your top speed of 62.1 miles per hour, and this launch to me looks like a more traditional LSM launch. It is rolling, so don't expect too much force, but it definitely does look fun. Following the launch, you turn upwards and to the left to enter the tallest element on the ride, a 126-foot tall top hat. This may have airtime in the back, but I wouldn't expect too much since it is trimmed before the drop. Thankfully, this trim does not kill all the momentum like the trim on Wrath of Zeus. You plunge down and enter a standard vertical loop, then turn left to an ejector pop before a batwing. This looks far from a B&M invert batwing as far as intensity, but it is cool to see this element pop up again. A few more ejector pops and meandering turns later, you enter the final inversion, a 0G roll. After that, it's nothing too special with some more turns and airtime moments before sliding into the brake run. All in all, I'm a fan of the layout. It does meander a fair bit, but at least those sections have some redeeming factors like an airtime pop or two. The inversions look fun, albeit nothing crazy, and that's pretty much how I would describe the ride as a whole. Also, don't expect many laterals from Abyssus. A big critique of other new Vekomas has been their lack of lateral forces, so I would not expect Abyssus to be any different. I don't think you should go in to ride Abyssus expecting it to be better than Zadra or even Lech Coaster, another new Vekoma in Poland. Will it be worth the trip to ride? I mean, realistically no, but we're enthusiasts, so yeah, a lot of people will probably make the trip to Energylandia to ride it. Will I? Well, no, not anytime soon, I'm poor. In conclusion, Abyssus is very cool, and I think it may just be the sleeper hit of 2021. Again, this does not mean that I think it will be the best coaster of all time, it just means that I think the hype surrounding it will not reflect the general overall thoughts on the ride. That's it for this video. Subscribe if you enjoyed, like the video if you like me, which would make you the first. No, I'm just kidding. And you want the YouTube algorithm to like me as well, and I'll see all you wonderful fellows in the next video. Goodbye.